everyone, and welcome back to the Rooted podcast. Today we have Rathai, who owns a small business called Serene Beauty Studio in the beauty industry for 15 years. She is a wonderful person, and you'll learn a lot about her story, but she really has a holistic and novel take to beauty that I really am excited for you folks to learn about today. Thanks, Rathai, so much for coming in today. It's so good to see you. Can you just share a little bit with our audience what you do and how you got to where you are?
So I'm a small business owner, and I provide makeup, bridal, hairstyling, waxing, and master classes in my studio. Facials too, did I say that?
Yeah, cool.
And so any kind of beauty service and self-grooming techniques, I teach it and I do it.
Wow, really cool. Can you, how did you, I know that you've always been kind of interested in that realm of work. Like, what got you inspired to kind of do that?
Actually, growing up in Jane and Finch was probably the reason why I got into it. My dad did not let me go out at all because he was so nervous about the neighborhood.
Right.
But he did see that I was super interested in doing makeup and all the beauty services. And in my community, I'm Sri Lankan.
Yeah.
When you get your period, they actually do this like big celebration.
Okay.
And there's like 3 levels to the celebration. Like one is at home.
Yeah.
And then the banquet halls. So I actually had like 3 experiences with different makeup artists.
Wow.
And like the first experience made me hate the way I looked.
Oh, okay.
And I was so angry in the photos.
Right.
And then the second experience, I was like, wow, like this woman does this as a job. She's super busy, and she was a mother of 3 kids. So I was shocked to see that it was a job, and also to see how like my energy was changing,
right,
with the different artists and the style and the relationship. So that really inspired me. And my dad was so sweet to actually make the living room in our home into like a home studio.
Yeah.
So then I started like learning and practicing on my friends, and they just started paying me because they were like, for your product at least.
Yeah.
But I didn't see it as a job. Like for me, it was just fun, and like connecting is what I love.
Yeah, and then it
became a job.
Yes, it's just a lucky to turn into something that gave you purpose, and you started enjoying it.
Yeah,
I mean, that's really, I mean, always like these spur of the moment and purposeful, like why we end up doing what we do always really comes from like an experience maybe that we've had, whether it be negative or positive. And it's nice that you were able to kind of create something from that. And is that like, what is kind of the purpose and your philosophy, I guess, behind the work that you do?
So for me, it's just empowering people and teaching them to love themselves, because I feel like the world teaches you to look at yourself otherwise. And I really hate marketing in today's world where, you know, people just want to look perfect, and it's just unrealistic. And I feel like I'm kind of a kryptonite in the beauty industry, where I do put makeup on people, but I also teach them to take it off and like look at the skin as like a GPS of what is going on in your skin or in your body and in your mind.
Right.
And in your life. Like everything will show through your skin. So instead of putting makeup on and masking and doing quick fixes, I like to build a relationship with my clients where I actually teach them how to read that and how not to get overwhelmed when you walk into Sephora and see all those products everywhere, and you're like, wait, what do I need?
Yeah.
Like, I don't like selling to people. I like teaching them how to empower themselves.
Yeah.
And that's like why I do this.
Yeah, and that's actually a really unique approach, and I think that's one of like the things that are so novel about what you do, and I think it's so inspiring, because oftentimes, like for myself, I'm not someone who's like very like into makeup and things like that, and I do get overwhelmed with these spaces, and being able to kind of have an entry point is nice, and you recognize that like people's knowledge is different, and people actually don't know a lot about like makeup and like what it actually should mean, or how it can like inspire people or empower people in different ways. So I really like that empowerment piece. Is that something that you came to, or is that something like right away you're like, this is my purpose?
It actually bothered me so much because when I started off in the beauty industry, it was actually when I was 15 years old, so I'm 31.
Wow.
So that's like 16 years. So in the beginning, natural beauty was actually encouraged.
Right.
But now it's become, because of like social media, it's become like such a perfected look, which is even more unrealistic to live up to.
Right.
So I think during the pandemic was when I was really like, is this industry still for me? And I would have these honest conversations with my clients, and they said, well, yeah, like then who's gonna speak about natural beauty if you leave? Like, when is that gonna be? Like, so now I see more of that movement where people are embracing their natural selves
Right.
and like being imperfectly perfect.
Yes.
Which is like all of what I stand for.
Yeah, and that's really cool. I guess you were like before that wave, like you just
Yeah.
so happened to believe that.
Well, I
and now
didn't
so
feel like I
happen-
fit in.
Yeah.
And I was like, am I gonna just like leave this career now? Like,
Yeah.
where am I gonna go? What am I gonna do? So I did have like identity crisis
Yes.
during the pandemic. And now I'm like pivoting. I'm pivoting, definitely pivoting, but still kind of in the same world.
Yeah, I mean, I think as professionals and when you grow up in the Jane and Finch community, you often have like a mindset that you don't have enough, or you're
Yeah.
kind of not capable of some of the things that you are capable of. And how did you like overcome some of that imposter syndrome to kind of even get into it and even stay into a space that I don't know a lot of people in the beauty industry, so I
Yeah,
imagine.
okay. Yeah.
Yes.
It's crazy. Well, for me, I think I was always in like a few different spots of it. So I always did bridal. And then I would like work in different parts of beauty. So I worked for like a company where it was like a bridal agency,
Right.
where I would build like different skill sets in the beauty industry. So I wasn't just putting myself in one section of beauty, because I do makeup, hairstyling, waxing. It kind of let me flex my skills and kind of like feel confident in myself. But if I didn't know how to do hair, for example, and all I did was focus on makeup, I think it would have made me feel like kind of lost or not strong in my skill set.
Right.
But because I kept pushing through the 15 years of makeup, I think it allowed me like time to learn everything.
Yeah, develop every skill.
Yeah, and just being patient with myself.
Yeah.
That like I will get there, and I don't have to be perfect to start.
Right.
But I have an interest, I'm patient, and I love the connection I have with people. They're so real.
Right.
I go into people's home and they're not wearing makeup and they're just being so authentically themselves with me, and I have to listen to them keenly and make them up the way that they want to look. So for example, like when you're younger, you're told, let's say someone had curly hair, you're told to straighten your hair to look polished and perfect.
Right.
By the time they're getting married or they're like later in their 20s, they want to embrace their natural self again.
Yeah.
So you do have to listen to them and bring them back to who they want to be.
Yes, yeah.
Instead of like, if I didn't listen to them
yes.
and I started straightening their hair, they would hate me for that.
Right. Like self-imposing what you think, and then kind of like understanding what they think.
Listening
is
to
beauty.
them.
Yeah. And I mean that's probably like a very like active listening and being a part of those things is not a skill that a lot of people have. Is that something that you had naturally? Like you were maybe like a people person, you had like a lot of good relations. I would say so, but I think to hear a little bit more from you would be
yeah,
nice.
I think like making people feel good is like where everything stems from, and I could read the energy of the person sitting in my chair if they feel uncomfortable. Like I like to give them the mirror and like tell me. I always say like it's not about what I create on you, it's do you feel good and comfortable in what I'm doing for you.
Yeah.
And like be open. Like it's not, my art isn't coming from the place of ego, it's coming from the place of it's your day and I want to make your day. So let me help you make your day.
Yeah, that's really, really a nice way to kind of approach it. I know that you talked about like your 15 years of experience, and I know that you started your business like kind of in between all of that. Can you tell us a little bit about the journey of like some of the jobs that you had and then got you to opening the small business?
So when I was 15 years old, so you know how I said I had a bad makeup artist and a good makeup artist? So my dad actually asked her if I could volunteer with her. So recently I was guest speaking in high schools for cosmetology class.
Oh, very cool.
Because I have a business. They said like share my experience. So I calculated how many hours I worked for free.
Okay.
So with this woman, I did 1,000 hours.
Oh my goodness.
Like, because it was like
this is the mother?
This is the mother,
yes.
And she had 3 kids, and like, so it would be a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, like she would be fully booked.
Yeah.
And like Saturday, she would start at 3 a.m. and she would be done by like 4 p.m. the next day.
Wow.
And she would have 3 major events in a day, right?
Yeah.
So I would do all like the extra people in her party,
so
but
you
she
were
would do the
doing
main
full
person.
makeup
Yeah,
like, at that time.
age, and I didn't know nothing.
Yeah.
But she taught me like how to do things quick. Like she definitely taught me how to deal with difficult people and like how to make sure people pay you and all that kind of stuff. She taught me that. So I worked for free for like thousands of hours with her. And then after high school was done, I decided to go to George Brown, but I needed money, so I couldn't work for free anymore.
Right.
So I got a job in Yorkdale at Roots because I really wanted a job.
Yes.
And my aim was to work at Sephora, But I thought if I worked at Roots, at least I would know that Sephora is hiring and I could apply.
You were close by,
Yeah, and so Sephora told me I had to be 18 years old to work there. I was 17.
You were 17, yes.
So then I waited till I was 18, and it was really tough to get in there back then.
Right.
So then I was in George Brown, and then I got a job at Tommy Hilfiger, which was right beside Sephora.
So you should go in.
So I could eventually get this job. And then I got the job, and I was the only brown girl there back then, you know?
Yeah.
It was so
funny.
funny.
Because during that time there was not
enough colored people
the diversity
in the
makeup.
And even in the makeup, like there was one foundation that matched me, and it was from Makeup Forever.
Wow.
And I would, like, every brand had a rep, so I would ask them, like, hey, like, what about us?
Yeah, of course.
And eventually, like, after 8 years, the colors started coming out. But anyways, so I worked at Sephora. While working at Sephora, they also had a rule that, like, you couldn't freelance.
Oh, interesting.
And you couldn't work for any other, like, beauty company.
Okay.
Which I thought they couldn't tell me what to do with my time outside because I'm going to makeup school and I have a at-home studio.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do what I'm going to do.
Right.
And they're not paying me enough for whatever dream I want to build.
Exactly.
So anyway, so I still did my freelancing. I did Sephora, and then I worked at, so while I was in school, one of my friends at school opened up like the aesthetics part of her nail salon.
Okay.
So I was running that for her.
Oh, nice.
So that's where I kind of got the confidence that I could run a business for myself at some point.
Right.
So then when I was 21, then I had $30,000 saved. So my dad was like, what are you going to do with the money? And I was like, I don't know. And then he was
that's
like,
a good question.
Yeah, it is a good question. And then he showed me like this area that was like developing, which was the Colossus area.
Yes.
So he was like, why don't you just put like some money down, and then by the time it's open, you can figure out like how you could do what you do at home on a bigger scale. So I was like, okay, I was super nervous. So I did do that. I felt like I was signing my life away.
Right, of course,
I was so nervous about it. But while I did that, I went to UFT and I studied like an entrepreneurship certificate course.
Okay.
So that helped me build my like business plan.
Right, okay.
Because if you don't have a business plan, the bank won't give you a mortgage.
Right.
So I got my business plan done through that time. And while I was doing that, then I had like imposter syndrome because I didn't have like my shop yet. And I was like, am I even able, like, would I be able to do this?
Right.
I didn't know like what to expect. So while in that time, I was working at the Blow Bar, so I was, which was a new store opening.
Yeah.
Okay, I did 3 things. So Sephora, I was at Yorkdale.
Yeah.
I eventually like became a lead, so they moved me over to Vaughan Mills, so I became a color lead there. And then it was a new store opening, so I got my experience of like how to open up a new store.
Yeah.
And then eventually I left Sephora and I worked at the Blow Bar and David's Bridal.
Oh, wow.
And those were also 2 new franchises that were being opened.
Yes.
So I also wanted to be a part of that process to see how like a new store opening would be for different businesses.
Yeah.
So I did those 2 while opening my own shop.
Wow.
And then I did get like burnt out doing that.
Of course.
So then eventually I stopped them, and then COVID happened, and now all I do is just Serene Beauty Studio.
Right.
Because it was just like too much going on.
Yeah.
And I had to like get out of the worker mentality and become a business owner.
Right. Oh, interesting.
Which was so hard to get myself out of that like trail.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to hear more about what what that conceptually means to you, getting out of the worker mentality, because I think it's something because we're raised in school to believe that 9 to 5, like this is the only way to be, and this is kind of the way you're supposed to live your life. I did want to go back to talk a little bit about the representation piece, because I think that's a huge part of when you first began, and I don't know what the field is like now in terms of like I know that there's more diversity in the palettes, etc., but I don't know if the field itself is like there's a lot of representation. So how did you face that, and what were like some challenges that you had along the way with that type of those types of discourses that existed in that space?
I think like back then there was definitely like 1 brown girl and then 1 black girl. Yeah. Like that was it. But now there's so much more representation. But back then it's like asking questions, why isn't there more colors?
Inquiring,
and also, it's sad to say, like when I was in makeup school, okay, there's 2 experiences. When I was in makeup school, I felt like people treated people of color differently, and they were always like unimpressed with how makeup looked after, because even the teachers couldn't do people of color's makeup without it looking ashy. So people were always like unsatisfied, right? Which helped me because I always made sure to master color, like skin tones. That was the biggest problem with colored skin, right? Finding the right colors. And after asking so many questions about like, what about us at Sephora, eventually the colors did come through. But the saddest thing that they said was that to get pigment of our color was harder and more expensive, and they didn't think that people would pay for it. And like fast forward to now, there's so many like brown colored skin people who are spending more money on makeup than you can ever imagine, right? That was something that people did say to me.
Yeah, that's so weird, right? Like the demand for it, I guess they didn't think existed.
They didn't think there was a demand for colored skin makeup.
Which is, so...
It was crazy.
Yeah, weird, especially when you come from like a cosmopolitan city like Toronto, like where there's so many different people that exist there. So can we touch a little bit on the worker, like the getting out of the worker mentality? Because I would love to hear from an entrepreneur like what that
so the worker mentality is like your time... You're putting all your time to the service that you're providing when you're not really creating the system so that it could be smooth sailing and that you can have a team working with you and you're delegating. But instead, I had this thing of like, well, it's my clients. I want to be there. I want to be the face. I want to make sure that like they have the best experience, but I'm not like growing a team and I'm not letting my friends or colleagues also work with me. So I had to grow out of that, and now I have a team. So if I have like a big group of, like, I used to do 10 clients in a day, like all by myself.
Oh my goodness,
I could at that time. But now that I'm getting older, like there is a difference in the quality of your work. As if you do that much, you're not going to be the happiest with the last appointment, you know? So I think it's really good to have a team. Now that I have a team, it really helps with time and quality.
So how did you like alleviate that control? I think that's like a big thing that business owners have, like even working in projects or whatever it is, like in the research projects I do, it is like about assigning roles to people and hoping that they do a good job doing so. But like how did you alleviate that like
so I think
anxiety?
It's like understanding what they're good at. So like, for example, if someone's really good at tousled updos, then I will give them the tousled updos. So what I noticed when I used to do makeup with like other bridal teams is they'll just be like, hey, there's gonna be 5 girls, they need makeup and hair. You're gonna do 3 makeup and hairs, and you're gonna do 2 makeup and hairs.
Oh, I see.
And then you go in there, you don't know who you're gonna be with, you don't know what their hair is gonna be like, what their skin type or skin tone is gonna be. Which is fine because we do have everything in our kit. But some people master certain hairstyles than others, right? So with time, I realized, okay, I'm gonna take time with the consultation process and ask them who's in the bridal party, send me photos of them without makeup and their natural hair. And then I'm like, okay, so I know that this friend of mine or colleague could definitely master and make this person happy, and so just setting them up. So it's a little bit more communication and like a better consultation is definitely going to solve that problem.
Wow, and that's a good like system because it makes the person feel confident too because they're working on their strengths, and then like you're like taking the time to understand what like the client's needs are, which is, I think sometimes there's not like a lot of communication, and I don't know if it's like lack of time or whatever it may be, but I've been a part of like bridal parties where it did feel rushed, and it was like, I don't feel like this person knows what I'm talking about, but we got to go because we're on schedule. So it was like quite busy. Is there, I guess like for folks who like work 9 to 5s and don't really know what entrepreneurship is like what is your day-to-day like? And what would, I know it's different from day-to-day, but like just give us like a general glimpse.
So for me, like it's always different. For me, I have to move my body. So like I do Pilates or yoga, which is for like my mental health and strengthening because I carry like 50 pounds of makeup. It's consultation. So when I'm feeling introverted, I'll do like my introverted assignments, which is like talking to my clients, scheduling my weeks out. And then when I'm feeling extroverted, it's cleaning my shop, cleaning my kit, which takes up a lot of time. Saving like Pinterest boards for like marketing ideas for the future. Marketing is a big part as well. And then also being an accountant for yourself. So you have to do your bookkeeping, which is like a once a month thing where you know, input all your numbers and you analyze what you're doing. And then collaborating is a big part. But for my industry, from like November to March is our slow period. But from March to October, you'll never, like, we have not even a minute to spare.
Right,
because it gets so busy. So Monday and Tuesdays are Saturday and Sunday.
Okay,
so that's when you'll see us relaxing.
Yes.
And then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday starts getting really busy.
Yeah. Okay. So your week is just scheduled a little differently.
It's
and
different.
I like that you tie kind of your energy to what kind of tasks that you're doing.
Yeah.
I think that's not something that we get to do. Like conventionally, people work 9 to 5 don't get to do. If you're feeling introverted, you can't not go and talk to sales pitch meetings or whatever it might be. So it's hard sometimes because you don't have that autonomy. But it's nice that you are inward and you reflect on that.
Yeah.
To kind of make sure that that's the case for you. Was there, I know that so we're connected because we grew up in the Jane and Finch community, we went to the same high school and we've had some history there. Were there any challenges that you faced being from the Jane and Finch community in the line of work that you do?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I mean, and there could not be any, but it's just something that, it's interesting to hear about if there's adversity you had to face or any type of challenges or barriers.
I mean, it's always funny when I'm working on a customer and they don't know I'm from Jane and Finch, and just hearing their perceptions of Jane and Finch, and then me changing that viewpoint. I don't think it really affected me. It actually helped me more, I feel than it affected my services. I even got a young entrepreneurship award from the Sri Lankan community during the pandemic, because they always kind of knew that I wanted to do this, and they're we never knew anyone who was 15 and knew what they wanted to do. So I don't think it really held me back. If anything, it really helped me.
That's awesome. And I think that's a great perspective to have, because I think that's when you're growing up, it's a little bit you feel it's dangerous and you feel a little bit of shame depending on who you meet and things like that. But then as you get older, you realize the community is quite beautiful, and I think that that's something that I'm seeing. A lot of us are connected in terms of the professionals who work in the area and that kind of thing, and always willing to help each other. And I really see as that's something that we've learned so much about other cultures and about other people and understanding and kind of being a little bit more empathetic with different lifestyles and whatever it might be. But I mean, I think that's a really good point to bring up so that young people kind of know that. Is there kind of what are some of the lessons that you kind of learn in the work in kind of being in the beauty industry and now owning your own shop? What are some big lessons that you have learned?
I would say planning is good, having some sort of plan, but also being flexible, because things like COVID and also when I started in the industry, I was single.
Right.
And then I got into a relationship, which changed my whole trajectory because my job is Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and my husband works a corporate job. So this is something I'm working with right now.
Right.
So because he works Monday to Friday and my job is Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and now I'm a family woman, there's things that I have to shift. So I'm definitely in a pivotal year. I'm in the planning stages, so I don't even know what that means for myself.
Right.
And becoming a mom or family planning, it's gonna take the forefront. So I always ask women who are working full time and have children how they do it.
Yes.
That's my biggest question for women.
No, I mean, I think about that a lot too. I've learned there's a lot of talks in the research world with young mothers who are starting their own lab and starting to teach because they have to get funding and they have to there's all these things that they need to do, and it sounds to me that it's a big juggling act, but it's really hard because we obviously have different responsibilities than kind of the men do in family kind of systems, and there's a lot of pressure for and now if you're a successful woman, what that means and what you might have to give up or whatever it is. But it sounds like there's a lot of transitions that you have to make in terms of when you do start a family, but even now that you have a relationship, there's someone else you have to account for, right? So you've been able, are you then spending less time are you doing less work now that you have different priorities and things?
Well, okay, for example, last year I was in a long distance relationship, which really helped the business too because it was long distance. But then he moved to Canada, which was last year. So now I'm how am I gonna do this? So then I was okay, he moved here. I don't want him to feel like he's not in a relationship with me. So then I tried to take Sundays off. But literally some days I was awake for 24 hours.
Oh my goodness.
So I cannot do this.
Oh, right.
So this year I'm trying to figure out how am I going to do this? Moving forward.
So something you're learning.
Right? It's something I'm still figuring out. So it's hard for me to think about my past obstacles now because I'm in a new set of obstacles. So I'm not even thinking about the past anymore. Yeah, so this is my new set of obstacles.
Yeah, can't wait to hear when you figure out, because there might be some answers there for everyone. It's really, I need to be a business owner too. It's just like a whole other thing. You got to deal with so many responsibilities. Is there, I'm wondering if there's any type of kind of advice that you would give to like a person that may be interested in going into the world of beauty or service or whatever?
Yeah. Well, what I find is people think it's a glamorous job, and it's like, you sacrifice so much.
Right.
Like your family could have an event on the weekend, a very important event, and you might not know till like 3 months, before the event. And I have brides that book me a year in advance. So I am sacrificing my personal life to make someone else's day, which is my purpose, and I love it, right? But this is something you have to consider, right? Like if you have a very active social life and you have a very sincere personal life, there's some sacrifices you might have to make. Also, I find that when people start off in makeup, they think they can charge like premium prices. I think that there has to be that volunteer portion of
like
your
what you did.
job, so that you can like sharpen that skill set and then start charging, right? Because I think people just come into the industry and then it gives a bad rep. Just like if you're not really honing in on that skill, and then you're gone. Like you come and then you go. And then there's people that have been in the industry for years, you know, and you can see the work that they put in. So I say just take your time with it. Always have like your first, like whatever job that you have, if you have a 9 to 5, and work on this skill on the side. And then when you have time, then you can really perfect the artistry side, and then you can fully like dive into it at some point. But you really have to create a schedule that works for you and your family life. That's like something I'm navigating now. I didn't think about it when I started off in the industry, because my parents didn't care. They were like, yeah, go work. They loved it.
Yes, of course. That's like their dream.
So happy that I was working.
She's
busy.
You're busy doing something like meaningful, and like that we've done. It sounds like obviously your dad was a really big influence on you, and he sounds like he was great in that kind of like assistance with mentorship and supporting. And it's obviously not a narrative that like not a lot of folks that we grew up with had, like in terms of like parental support. Like what did that help you, and like what did that mean for you?
Honestly, it's a privilege. My dad would like drop me off at like a bride's house at 3 a.m. and if I was done at 11, he'll like do his thing and then come pick me up at 11. Like sometimes they're in Niagara Falls or like far drives, and he would always offer to drive me. Sometimes it'll be so far that I wouldn't have, like I would have time. Like sometimes I would fall asleep driving. So my dad is like, I'm gonna help you. And I would clean my brushes while we're driving back. So I have to say, like having my dad's support really did push me into where I am now. Without my dad, I don't think I would have gone this far.
And that's really nice. And that's the thing, like we always see a successful person, but we don't see necessarily
all the work everyone else is putting behind
and all the people, their work and everything. So it's nice to hear that you had that. And I was curious on something that you said earlier in terms of like diving into the artistic side, because you were saying like then you could really dive into it. Can you talk a little bit about like the creativity in your work and like what that looks like for you?
So everyone has their artistic style. So every makeup artist, it was so funny when I worked at Sephora. So everybody's kind of sectioned into their own world. So I was in the color world, and then there's skincare, fragrance, and then there's cash. So cash would always say, I know which, like whenever you cash out, the cashiers could tell who did whose makeup.
Oh, wow.
So they'd be like, this is Rathai style. So my style is like a natural soft glam. It's always like looking like themselves. And then it's fun like to create editorial looks. That's when you can really like flex your skills. Where you put like pearls on the face or like, but I noticed my style is always natural or soft glam.
I noticed that about your work too.
And I think like practicing on different skin types and face shapes are what makes it exciting. For me, I love working on small business owners. Like, for example, last year I did a collaboration with a jewelry designer, and it's just nice to bring like someone else's Pinterest board to life. And same with brides. They're like bringing their vision. Like they would come for like 3 trials, like the ones that are really into the whole process and like feeling pampered. Just bringing all like every like trial to life, and then seeing them like tear up and like feel beautiful and like see the day happen and then see the photos happen after is just, I find it fulfilling.
You were saying the different like kind of looks that people get. Where does that come from? Like
The inspirations?
Yes.
Usually from like the red carpet,
Right.
or like celebrities are usually who come up with the new trends and looks. But I would say for me, I don't really follow the trends. I would like it to come from what makes them feel happy and like comfortable in their skin. So I try to make it as personal and customized as possible versus like, oh, Hailey Bieber's doing this. Would you like to do this?
Right.
No, I just like, okay, your eye shape is this. It's more like symmetry. Let's lift your face. Let's make you look glowy.
Yeah.
It's just giving like a fresh, youthful look versus making them look completely different.
Yeah,
This is like my brides and my everyday clients.
Just individualizing the looks, which is like, I think, because sometimes people come in with a bias, like this is what we're gonna do, and
I don't usually attract those type of clients who want like a full transformation to look like a completely different person. Because my style comes with like a conscious effort of keeping them looking like themselves and making them fall in love with themselves versus feeling like, oh, I wish I looked like this every day. But it's okay, you still look good without your makeup too. Like that's a big part of my whole session with every client. And
I'm glad that that's a part of it. And I know that you we're talking a little bit about yourself and how you came in today, intentional with like how you look. I wonder if you want to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So normally I always feel this pressure that I have to wear makeup everywhere you go, like because it's our job and we're our business cards. But today I just wanted to be honest and real and say like being imperfectly perfect is perfect and just good the way it is, and that you don't have to listen to all the noise around you and feel like, you know, you have to look like some other way than how you are, like your birth look. I think beautiful. I feel like people are beautiful without makeup and like good skincare.
No, and I really appreciate that, and I think that's a really, like, again, like, because your unique approach and you kind of just see beauty so holistically, I really want to hone that in because of everything happening right now. There's so much noise and social media. There's so many pressure on young people that I think they need to know that who they are is enough, and like how they come is enough. So I really do think that's a great approach to like beauty, because it's beauty is such a discourse of like change who you are, you look this way. So I want to leave the audience with kind of the last question, and I wonder if you can share a piece of advice or one thing that maybe you would leave, like if you were talking to a group of young people, which it sounds like you've done some talks, like what would you say to them in terms of you know, how they can develop into maybe an entrepreneur or like get into the industry?
I think self-development and a relationship with yourself is probably the most important thing. And from a young age, I was listening to my inner voice, and I became my best friend, even though like the world doesn't believe in you. And then like having a support system, obviously my dad did have my back, but making sure you find like a good group of friends or family that supports you and believes in you. But in order to believe in you, you need to know what you want and like who you are and who you want to be. So exploring yourself and developing yourself, and then having a group of people that hold you accountable and support you in whatever your endeavors are. It will just grow with you, but you have to develop yourself. You can't just expect things to come to you. Like you have to work for it.
Exactly. And I think that's the thing. Sometimes it's like people always have this perception that you should be accepted as you are, and you should, but you need to also do the work on yourself so you're not bringing or emotionally burdening everyone around you, or whatever it might be. You have to do that work, and it is hard because we're like all fighting to not be alone with our own thoughts, right? Is there like, I know that you do you say you did yoga and Pilates. Does that really help with that? I think yoga really slows me down because I'm always go, and I am naturally high energy. So I need the yoga to like slow me down, stretch me out, and like just connect back to my body, and then I feel centered with yoga. And walks, like I do 8,000 steps every single day, which like I like doing it by myself, but I don't mind doing it with someone as well, because then I can share my thoughts or silence. I like silence sometimes because I talk a lot as well. Well, it's just because your mind is moving. You have so many problems that you're solving. But I think that's like a great thing to tell people, like be able to not only spend some time on honing in on skills, but also you have to do that self-work, and it's going to be hard. There's going to be tears, it's going to be uncomfortable, and it's like there's going to be voices and weird things that you'll face, but I know that when we talked, we were kind of going through like a journey like that together, so it's nice to be able to meet on a different side and kind of like a different leaf or whatever we would call it. But thank you so much for coming in. I really appreciate hearing from you. Thanks. Good. Yay.